that overwhelming? Was that overwhelming for you though? Like, I mean, to be like part of situations where like you are helping people get saved that's on major platforms like that, like, and when I mean major platforms, athletic platforms, was that overwhelming for you, or was you like God was just like I'm a vessel, Lord, just use me, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it was a vessel. Just use me because God kept putting me in situations. Like even one time I had a flight. Around that same time, I had a flight, and my cousin from Virginia, he grew up and he's a really great friend. They're really great friends with Trey Songz. And I remember him hitting me. He was like, "Hey, yo, cuz, just pray for Trey. Pray for Trey." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna pray for Trey." Next day I had a flight back home, back to Pittsburgh, and God orchestrated it, and we're on the same flight, me and Trey.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just like, and God said, "Go share the gospel with him." So I said, "All right." So I walk up to Trey, and we're literally, I don't know what you call it, the little walkway on the plane. He's a couple seats ahead of me, like maybe 2 seats ahead of me. And I literally shared the gospel with Trey. You know what I mean? He probably was thinking I was trying to talk to him because he was looking at me. He was like, "Okay." And I was like, "Nah, it's not even like that." So I did that. And he was just like, "You know what? Thank you so much for taking your time to share that with me. I appreciate that. Respect to you, Ma. I appreciate that." And so I just ain't never been afraid to share the gospel. It don't matter who it is. It could be somebody that nobody knows. I've shared it with homeless people. I shared it with, people who are street pharmacists. I've shared it with people who are business people. Because I don't care. Like I don't have a hesitation button when it comes to the Lord, because I understand that we are all going to face him one day. We're going to face him one day, and we're going to have to give an account. And so I'm going to do my best by the authority of Jesus Christ and his spirit to share the gospel with people. So like I said, no hesitation button. I'm on go because the time he's getting closer to coming back. So I want people to know.
So, okay. So what was that conversation like with Trey? Like, was it just him sitting there listening, or was it there y'all having a conversation back and forth?
Well, we were standing there in the first class section. And, God is good. God is good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the stunt like that. Yeah, the stunt.
For the glory of God. You know what I'm saying? We were in the first class. Like, it's like only like 4 rows. And so it's just like 1, 2, 3. And, he was in that very first section. And I remember somebody helped me put my bag up, and I just went up there, right over to him. And I felt the prompting of the Spirit of the Lord to do it. And I shared it with him. You know what I mean? And like I said, he just was like, "Thank you." Like he probably told me like, "Thank you" 3 or 4 times, because I'm sure like when, you're in the industry on the mainstream side, you don't really get people who show that amount of care, let alone talk to you about God. Like God, that's not even a conversation. God, like where they do, and it brings people back, because you got to remember, most of us from the Black culture have already been exposed to church. We've already been exposed to the Lord. So it's just like a reminder, like, nah, I'm still after you. I still want you. I still care about you. That's God speaking. You know what I mean? And so it was dope. Like it was real cool. It lasted for like a minute or 2. And that was it. It wasn't no long drawn out, shouting and screaming. It just was like a straightforward, I said what God wanted me to say type of thing. And it was just crazy to me that my cousin had literally told me the day before when I was home. And then like, how do only God can orchestrate us being on the same flight the next day? You know what I mean? And I don't even know if he went home. I don't even know if he was home to see I don't know. But we was on the same flight, and I obeyed the command of the Lord. And, that was it.
Wow. So did you ever name drop your cousin? Like, yo, my cousin such and such? Like, did you say that or did you just not?
From my understanding, I'm trying to remember the fullness of the conversation because I was just so focused on the Lord part.
Yeah.
I don't think I named my cousin.
Okay.
I ain't gonna put his name out there, but I did put out the name that everybody knows him as. I did.
Got you.
You're okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I did. I didn't say his name, but I did, what we know him as. I did say his.
Got you.
His neighborhood name.
Got you. I mean, because I think at the end of the day, you need something to like,
The icebreaker.
Yeah. And I think sometimes when people witness to people, I don't think they understand that. Like, God, how can I just come up to them and not be like so aggressive with the gospel? Because the gospel is aggressive enough. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to be as aggressive with the gospel, but you want to be like, God, how can you give me an entryway with this person? You know what I'm saying? Like
a nice layup. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like an alley. You know what I'm saying?
That's what it was. And I looked at that, and even like talking about it again now, like I said, like I couldn't have, you know, my cousin telling me that, pray for him, and then being on the same plane, same flight, the very next day is crazy. You know what I mean? And I remember saying, I do remember that. I did. So, you know, you got to look for those moments, and you got to be open to what the Spirit of the Lord is saying. So, yeah.
Got you. So, all right. So now you're putting your city on fire for God. You are doing amazing things. You're witnessing to R&B stars and all that. When was it time for you to start doing music and like putting out like national recordings and stuff like that? Like what was your idea about that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I know at times, sometimes when God give us those things, and sometimes people see those things and they go, man, okay, so I'm telling people not to listen to secular music. What type of music should I give them to listen to instead? So was that one of your things in your heart? Like, God, you giving me this mantle to tell people not to listen to secular music, so I need to create something so people can listen to something, you know what I mean? Or did you recommend other people, other Christian rappers to other people, or Christian R&B type stuff?
I think for me, because I got saved and started doing music relatively quickly, because I was already mainstream. So then when I became a believer, I was like, oh, it's only right. I didn't really know Christian hip hop was a thing.
Gotcha.
But when I did get put on to other Christian hip hop artists, was like, yo, check this person out, check this, you know what I mean, type of situation. You know, again, it was a little challenging because, you know, the majority of my people were not believers. You feel what I'm saying? And so they were like, yeah, I don't know about that, but I listen to your music. You know what I mean? Type of situation. But I did do my best to try to expose them to, you know, other artists, because I thought it would be dope. Like, you know, like, hey man, you know me. You feel me?
Yeah.
So like, let's maybe hear somebody, you know, who you could connect with. But then, you know, they just was like, nah, because it's a difficult thing. Like, you know, when you're from a certain area, like it's like everybody want to like, yo, who is this? Is this for real? And then especially like when you're throwing God in there, because so many people get messed over, unfortunately, by people in the church. So many people are skeptical about like, can I even believe what this person is saying? Or are they just saying this because they want me to give them some money? They just want me to go and download their thing on iTunes. So, you know, excuse me. Sorry about that. That's my alarm to pray. That's my alarm to pray. I have probably 3 or 4 of them that I have throughout the day. So let me just make sure I turn that off. We in there. I turned them off. My next 2, I turned them off. Sorry about that. But no, like they listened to my music, and then, you know, God was like, yo, make this type of song, make this type of song. And then it just kept going and it kept growing. And, you know, he's truly blessed the works of my hands. Like it's been a challenge at certain points. It hasn't all been easy, but he's definitely blessed the works of my hand. And it's tremendous to see the different people that come to salvation off of a tool like Christian hip hop. You know what I mean? It's crazy. I've gotten to lead Jewish people to the Lord, and
wow,
it's crazy. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I'm about that action. I'm about that work.
Got you. Okay, so what was it like recording with MC Jen? He's on all these people like in your beginning stages. Like, what was that like? Because I mean, your first project is in the early 2010s, and I'm like, that's like for some people the golden age of Christian hip hop. That, you know, where this is the Lecrae time when Lecrae is popping and people are looking at this space. Like, what was your thoughts about working with certain people on your project? And you always represent the ladies. You always got the ladies on there with you. But what was your process around your Stay True project?
Oh my gosh, I'll tell you the story on that Stay True. So we were in New York recording that album, that whole song, that whole everything. We recorded that in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And Ray Rock, shout out to my bro. He was a heavy instrumental person in it. Like, you know, I was fresh to it. And so he was just like, yo, do this, do this, do this. And I'll never forget, he was like, look, all of them were like, look, this is New York. Okay. And I followed their direction. Okay. Because I wasn't fully producing at the time. They're like, this is New York. Trust us on this direction for this project. So I said, okay. He said, don't listen to no. He said, I know you from the South and I know y'all like that trap or whatever. He was like, don't listen to none of that. You in New York now. You can only listen to New York artists. So they literally had me listening to all like classic hip hop. Only people from New York though. And they know I love Whitney Houston, so I had to listen to like LL Cool J, Wu-Tang. Like they had me going through like people who really did it, and I respect it. And so like that's why I have such a love for like that classic, you know, era. It's because of Ray and because of, you know, everybody that was a part of it. And I do remember, and I said, look, y'all know I love Whitney Houston. Y'all know I love that. Can I listen to her at least? And he was like, no, she's from Jersey. I was like, dang, like you.
Dang.
I'm like, Jersey is like 5 minutes away. And so like, but that whole process of even how, when I'll never forget, Jen came into the studio, I had laid my verses for that song and Jen just popped in. You know what I mean? And he was like, yo, who is this? This is you? You need like, that's you in there? He said, I never done nothing like this before, but can I get on this song? Can I get on this song? And all of us was in there was like, yeah. And he a man of his word. About like a week later, he sent it in. And for that Stay True song, he popped through and he did his thing. I just was like, wow. I was so honored because they were like, yo, do you know who that is? Do you know who that is? That's Jimmy. I was like, I thought his name was Jen. He's like, no, that's Jimmy. I was like, maybe that's his nickname. That's Jimmy from Fast and Furious. And I was like, oh my God, it is Jimmy. You know what I mean? And so it was just such an honor, such a blessing. You know what I mean? So yeah.